Clearing, clarity, activate. Clearing that energy out in a lot of different ways, getting the clarity of what you're trying to do, and then move into action.
You're listening to Squeeze Limes, where truth stings, laughs heal, and nothing's off limits. I'm Tyler, the daughter.
I'm Robin, the mom. And if life gives you lemons,
we're squeezing limes instead.
So grab a seat, open your mind, and get ready to laugh or cry, because we're not here to play nice.
We're here to get real. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Squeeze Limes. If you're new here, welcome. We're so excited to have you. And today we're sitting down with Tami Palmer. She is the founder of Greyzone, a career and life coaching firm where she is known for providing valuable insights, tailored advice, and tactics that help her clients navigate the gray zone. Tami is also a published author of 2 novels and a short story collection. Her career book, The Greyzone: Insights on Leading Your Career with Intention, won a 2025 Nautilus Book Award. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Tami is a co-founder of the Professional Moms Community Network, which is actually where we met her. So that is really exciting and some context in how we know you, Tami. We're so happy to have you. Welcome to Squeeze Limes.
Welcome
Thank you so
in.
much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We're
Good,
very
of
excited
course.
to be with you. I'm going to jump right in.
Okay.
You know, the gray zone is so interesting to me. And so I wonder what that means to you.
Yeah, sure. I used to work in corporate and I was in recruiting. And so in an HR department, I was sort of the salesperson in the HR department. And I found that my coworkers who were doing benefits administration and all that kind of stuff were very black and white. And I kept saying, guys, like we're dealing with people, it's all gray. And I felt like I've been an advocate for the gray zone for so long. And then I had left my job and I was trying to figure out what was next, sort of on a sabbatical. And I was out on Vistaprint. I don't even know if that's still around, but I was
It is,
designing. Is it?
I know that.
That was
Yeah.
a fabulous little tool. So I was designing business cards because I had this networking event coming up, and I'm like, all right, I have to give something to people to know who I am, and thinking I would do some HR consulting at the time. And literally, there was a black bar and a white bar, and I'm just playing with colors and fonts, and my fingers start typing Greyzone. And I looked at it and I said, that's my business.
It's amazing.
And I didn't even know what my business was. The name
But
came
what a
first.
great name. What a great name.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I have a line on my website that says, there's black and there's white and then there's the gray zone. And so the gray zone is that liminal space where we are uncertain, where things are changing, where we are navigating new situations. I would say our entire world is in the gray zone at the moment in terms of everything going on and the big bubble we live in. But it's that space of potential, but also a lot of uncertainty.
Absolutely. And I think that so strongly relates to every person. Like you said, it's not black and white. It's gray. Like we have to find this middle ground of what works, what doesn't, how this works for one person might not work for another person or situation. So I think that's such a beautiful capture of really everything.
Yeah, exactly. I use that all the time. I obviously don't use the gray zone because I'm not allowed to, but I do. I feel like preach that mentality is like, if you're black and white, please come into the middle a little bit. And especially with couples or, with partners, it's, even with parents and children, it's like, come a little bit in from your stance so you could see the gray, which makes it a lot easier to communicate and live actually in your presence. So it's lovely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Glad you guys get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So you blend strategy with intention. When someone's stuck, what do they actually need the most in that moment?
So I was coaching someone actually just this week, and she was in that situation where she had to quit because she knew she was gonna get terminated if she didn't. And so it's like you
Mm.
leave, but
Mm.
it's not by choice, but it's also, it was your choice. And so it's a weird space, right? And so she was trying to figure out, like, what do I do next? What's my plan? And this line came up for me of clearing, clarity, activate. And so how I broke that down, and I'm working on a blog about this, which is like clearing that energy out in a lot of different ways, getting the clarity of what you're trying to do, and then move into action. Because a lot of times we go straight into action
Mm,
when we aren't clear, when we haven't. And when I say clear, it's like a double meaning. Like there's clearing your energy, and then there's getting clarity on what you want to do forward. And those both have to happen. And so much of that it's a time when we really don't trust our intuition. Our confidence
Mhm.
is down. We're second guessing ourselves. So we have to get back to understanding we are in control. We do know the answers. And then how do we get to those answers, and how do we get back to that feeling of safety and strength?
mm,
To make and then to take action.
Right. But sometimes we jump to action and we haven't done the pre-work, and then
Right.
we're
mm,
a
And then
little
there's
bit of a hot
mistakes.
mess.
Right. And then
Right.
people regret what they're doing. Right.
Right.
It's
Or they
taking the
make
pause.
another bad choice, right?
mm.
Yeah. That's interesting.
That
Yeah.
is really interesting. It's like you just have to have, like we said, intention for what you're going for and blend that into your strategy system to be able to move forward in
Mhm.
whatever the situation may be.
And to
Yeah,
get the help to trust their gut feeling it because it's all kind of jumbled up in there. And so
yeah,
that's where people come to you to become clear enough to make decisions to then take action. It's great.
100%. I had a client this week who I've worked with off and on for probably 7 years, and I helped him make a big career pivot when he first came to me, and he said, "Okay, Tammy, it's time for the next one.
Nice.
I don't know what I wanna do." He's like, "I think I wanna be a teacher." And then he spent 20 minutes telling me all the different ideas that he had, and we circled back to the fact that he wants to be a teacher. But something in him is hesitant to declare it and go for it, right? And
Mm.
so he's getting lost in all this mess of everything else, and finally, at the end of the call, I'm like, "So you wanna be a teacher? Okay, we're done. Like, now we have to just figure out what are the steps to make that happen, what's the
Right,
schooling
right.
look like? How do you do that? Blah, blah, blah." But it's fascinating how people will hire a coach to figure out their life when they know the answer, and so
Mhm.
what they're really hiring the coach for is for permission to pursue their dream.
And to work it out, just
Yeah.
continuously work it out.
Yep.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's almost like sometimes very separate, but it's almost like a therapist. You're like going to talk
Oh,
about your life,
totally.
and then you like come up with the realizations yourself after you just spent an hour talking about it. And you're like,
Well,
oh,
that's the
wait a
purpose, but that is like the entire purpose of
right,
therapy, right?
right.
Right.
Just to work it out yourself.
Yeah, and I
So
jokingly say that, I do career therapy, and I say that, obviously I'm not a trained therapist, and there is a distinct line in that, but there's a very broad knowledge of what therapy is, and it is talking through stuff.
True.
absolutely, so they can reach their own decisions and make it work for them.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
Right.
it's great. What's the change people fight the hardest against? That you see in your
Oh,
business?
I think it's probably leaving something that feels safe,
Mm,
even if it's not the healthiest idea. So it could be, well, I don't know if I'll find a job that has as much flexibility. I don't know if I'll have a job that I'll make enough money. I don't know if I'll have a job. Like, what if my boss would be worse somewhere else? Like, the known thing is safer than
Mhm.
change.
Of
And
course.
so, an unnecessarily strong need for safety all the time,
mm,
and a low
Right.
risk tolerance.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. My grandmother used to say, "The treasure is where you trip,"
Oh,
and
I
that's
love
this.
that.
It's the truth, right? It's the unsafe world out there, and you could find your treasure. You just have to go for it and see and take that
Yeah.
chance.
Yep.
It's an unsafe world, but it could be.
Right.
Right,
Right. And there's so
Right.
exactly.
many like quotes and analogies that go along with that. But
Yeah.
we know those, but we still don't want to do it.
Right,
Right.
right,
Because the known is feels safer
Right.
than, something you don't know, and I feel like that speaks to so many forms throughout our life, and I think so many people feel the need that, like, we can control truly the direction that we're going in our life, and in reality, every single step we take, whether we stay or we don't stay, is unknown.
Mhm.
So, I
mhm,
think, that's such a thing to reflect on and also kind of be grateful for in a sense of everything's unknown and you just got to ebb and flow through life and whatever's thrown at you and take it with everything you got and
right, it's like playing dodgeball. You have to tuck and weave and dodge and,
Mhm.
and it works though if you are prepared, really,
Right.
and have support. That's
Right.
the key, I think, throughout at life in general.
And
From your
sometimes it's understanding like what's the worst thing that can happen and how
Mhm.
would you recover from that?
mhm,
And sometimes the worst thing isn't I'm going to get evicted and I won't be able to feed my kids, which is where our brain goes.
Mm,
It's like, oh, the worst thing is I'd have to dip into savings until I got the next job, or
mhm,
something like that.
right,
right. And I also think that it's so powerful to flip the script of what's the best thing that can happen.
Oh,
If
for
I
sure.
go for this, where can it take me? Where
right. What
where
are the
does my
possibilities?
imagination go? Yeah, what are the possibilities? I think
Mhm.
that's also such an important piece that so many people miss is, we look at the worst and then we don't look at what is possible and that can drive so much into us moving forward.
Mhm,
And some
that's true.
people literally fear success. Like, well,
True.
what would
Mhm,
that look
mhm,
like? That feels too big. And I mean, I feel like I've fallen guilty to that before of like,
mhm,
I don't know how
mhm.
big I want my world to be.
That's so true. So, from your experience with hiring and negotiation, what's one belief you wish women or really just people in general would drop?
Oh my gosh.
It's a hard one.
I could spend like an hour talking about negotiation. Um, I don't know if I would label it as a belief, but there's something that women do. Some men do it too, which I've also found super fascinating. I've had to coach 50-year-old white male executives who hate to negotiate and are nervous as heck. So it's mostly women, but it also is a fair number of men. Not a lot of people love negotiating. But there's this thing that mostly women do where they justify what they're asking for. So it's
Mhm,
and I can't stand it, and I've coached so many people through it. So I had a woman who was out of the workforce for a number of years, and when she got back in, she felt like she was still, whatever, 7, 10 years later, still suffering from a lower salary because of the gap that she had had as a working mom. And so she was trying to get her salary back up to par. And she said, "So I've got a plan. I'm gonna go to my boss, and I'm gonna explain to him that my kid needs braces, and that's why I need a raise."
Mm. No.
I mean,
You guys are shaking your head, right? Like,
right.
No.
No, no, no. Yeah.
no, no.
No.
And I could tell so many other versions of I need house repairs. And so
Sure.
women feel like they have to explain what they need the money for, that it
Mm,
can't be, well, I would like an Audi instead of a Toyota, right? It doesn't
Your
matter
worth
what
or your worth. Right.
it doesn't matter what you're doing with the money. The point
Right.
is I feel like I'm under market value and I'd like to figure out how I can bring myself up to market value, right? And so
Simple.
it's the language that we use and if I could do nothing else to the women listening and the men, please take out those clauses out of your negotiation around the justification of why you deserve whatever it is, because it's not just money. We negotiate all kinds of things in life.
Absolutely. Right. This is what you want. This
Right.
is what you need, and ask for what you want.
Right.
So that makes sense. I know you work with groups of women. Can you talk about that a little bit? What that's
Yeah,
like
so
compared to the one-on-one?
sure, I'll give just a little bit of background for the listeners. So a lot of what I've been speaking to so far is some of the career coaching stories that I have. I am a career coach, a life coach, because it's really hard not to be both. I mean, it's so integrated. I've just stuck the word life on there because it's all part of the package. Um, but in addition to that, I lead retreats and I lead women's circles. And of course, the professional moms community that we've met at. So, a lot of what I do is outside of the coaching is create experiences for women to come together. Sometimes that's professional in a meetup, sometimes that's in a women's circle, which is a little bit more soulful, or it's at a retreat.
Mm.
And there's a real magic to bringing women together and watching, I'm always amazed at retreats and in circle, more so than at a meetup, how quickly women open up and are vulnerable and how much of a need they have to share and connect and to be seen. And it's so, so beautiful, and people will come away from a retreat going, "I can't believe how quickly we bonded, how close everyone got." And my response is, and I've seen this happen over and over again, this actually isn't special. This happens when women come together in a
Mhm.
way that is a safe, sacred container, right, that can
With
foster that
intention.
with
Like, they're
intention.
there for
Yeah.
this intention. Yes.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So it's
That's
a
so nice.
beautiful thing, and the growth that can happen when one woman shares a story and another, and then you start, I have in one of my women's circles, this was a couple of years ago, several of the women were entrepreneurs, married to entrepreneurs. And so there was this sort of familial battle of
Mm,
who's building their business and needing to give time and energy to the relationship and not to building the businesses. Because if you've got two
Right.
entrepreneurs, you're both building your business and you're raising kids, and like, where does the time for us as a couple? And one woman was sharing her concerns around that, and then the other women all started echoing, "Me too, me too, me too." And
Ugh,
it was like,
wow.
"Oh," right? So it's not just me and my relationship that's struggling, it's everyone that's experiencing this dynamic.
Mhm. That's
right.
really powerful, very
It
I
powerful.
really is.
it's so powerful, and I think that speaks to you and the environment that you're allowing those women to open up and giving them that space is so powerful. Because of course, women gathering and people gathering, I think is can be very powerful, but I think that does speak wonders to the work that you're doing and putting in
Oh,
and
thank you.
able to give that to people. That's huge.
Thank you.
Yes.
Of
Yes, thank you.
course.
I guess it's, we all have our superpowers, and that happens to be one of mine. I don't know if you ladies know anything about astrology, but I have a lot of Aquarius in my chart, and that's
Oh,
that's the group
this is the
coordinator.
dawning of the any chance to sing, I'll just do.
Okay.
We're big
I
No,
am
but
on
doing
I
karaoke tonight, so we could start practicing
oh,
now.
there we go. It's
but
perfect.
I understand that Aquarian, depth and freedom.
Humanitarian
Absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and group growing together.
Mhm.
Yes, it's about connection and building that
Yeah,
community that you've clearly grown in so many different forms.
Right,
Um,
right.
that it's amazing. And I think us women really need that community, really need that space to be able to open up and feel this togetherness. Like we're not alone. We're in it together and we're all going through more of the same thing than we realize.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
and in our kind
safety.
of, fragmented society, and especially social media and such, women are really starved for in-person connection,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
that's why the meetups are huge, and the
Yeah.
events that we put together, and
Right.
allowing people to actually connect energetically in person is really huge.
And I love
Oh,
your meetup
really?
because it's career oriented. It's getting people together and then it's also social. So you're
Yes.
getting everything in one, you know,
Yeah.
world and on that one day that matters. It mattered so much to us to be involved and we just loved
Thank
it.
you.
It was
Thank you.
it
I'm so
was
glad you. Yeah, I mean, I literally started the group to make friends. And then it
Yeah.
grew into this business group where women come and there's this micro economy of women supporting women, but a lot of friendships develop out of it too. So there is that social piece, which is just as important.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. I just loved it.
it's
We loved
huge.
it. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Yes.
So to close, what does living your juiciest life look like right now
Oh, for me or for the world?
for you? For
For
you.
me. For
Only I
me
statements.
for me, it's an interesting I play with the concept of word of the year. You might have heard of that. You guys might practice it where you pick a word and that's like your North Star for the
Mantra.
year.
Hmm.
Yeah. And my word for this year is attunement. And to me, it's like alignment, but it's a little bit more musical, energetic, has kind of a harmonic feeling to it. I'm also a writer, so I like big fancy words. Um, they're like my paints, right?
Yeah.
Right, right.
I was editing this morning and I felt like I was just like, oh, it's like I'm painting where I'm moving words around.
Oh.
So my big juicy life is I'm moving into a new medium this year and I'm launched my own podcast and
Wonderful.
really thank you, playing with getting my content and ideas out in a different form than in writing, which I normally hide behind my blogs and my books. And and not only doing that, but I'm not doing it as a career coach per se, or I'm not doing job search tactics it's not a gray zone
Mm,
podcast. It's a Tami podcast and Tammy
Mm.
speaking who she is in a way that I haven't before with my community. And I'm really coming out with a truer voice of the things that I feel called to talk about, which are things like astrology and karma and intention. And there's a lot of spirituality components to the podcast. It's called the Intention Podcast, but it's all of the stuff that's been hiding behind me because I'm not sure the world wants to see that, and I'm not sure it's corporate enough or normal enough or all the things, right? That we've, put a little bit of guardrails of like, not everyone sees the real Tammy. Um,
Mm.
and that's been slowly dissolving the last few years. I'm also in the F at 50s, which also helps that
At
dissolve.
50. It does help that dissolve, right?
And so this is like when I heard the first episode, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's me being fully me, regardless of who the audience is, knowing the audience is the world." And so I can't wait to see how this all unfolds, what ends up happening to my business, my network, my friendships as a result of me showing up fully.
Mm.
And I would say to your listeners, go for it. Be fully you. And doing your
Absolutely.
juiciest life is like really leaning into what are you like if the risks were minimal, right? Getting back to that conversation, what would you do if you couldn't fail and you knew it was only gonna amplify and thrive, right? Like that's the mindset I'm
Right.
going in with.
Right. That's juicy. That's living your
That
juiciest life is just
that's
being
it, right?
authentic and genuine and you. And people welcome that.
It's true, they
Yeah.
do. What a beautiful thing that you're what is the phrase? Preaching what is it? Preaching what you live or
Walking the
Yeah,
talk.
walking the talk. You're
Have to walk
saying
the
jump
talk.
into the unknown,
yep,
and that's exactly what you're doing. And I think that's such a special, beautiful thing to also put yourself in a place of authenticity and showing up as your full self.
And vulnerability.
yep,
Yes, and being vulnerable because when you show up as your full self, you're vulnerable with it,
100%.
especially to the world.
But I do
We
believe that
something we
people lean
know.
into that. People lean
Yeah,
into vulnerability. They don't
Yeah,
they're not off-putting. They lean in. They want to do the same. So that's going to be a great avenue for you.
and when you can do it, you're giving them permission, right? Like, you're showing them the path to do that, and
Exactly.
so,
Exact. Take
like,
risks.
again, I know these things, and I've done it to a degree, but
mm,
where I might have been at 80%, now I'm at 100, right? Like, I'm going
Awesome.
full in.
Congratulations.
that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
And
Yes,
as
Well,
congratulations.
podcasters, you get it.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a lot of fun and it's a lot of hard work and you'll do great.
Thank you.
We'll be watching.
Thanks.
For sure.
Yes. So thank you again so much, Tami, for joining us. And it was wonderful to speak with you and hear all of the things that you have to share with us and our listeners. And with that said, thank you again to our listeners
Thank
for coming
you.
on and joining us. And we wish you the juiciest day.
Thank
See you next
you.
time.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a good squeeze.
Of course, everybody needs one.
See you next time on Squeeze Lines.